All right, today we are diving deep inside the body's ultimate engine. I'm talking about that relentlessly powerful muscle that keeps absolutely everything running, the heart. And get this, have you ever wondered what a marathon of 100,000 beats a day looks like? I mean, that's not an exaggeration. Your heart beats about that many times every single day. Think about that. Over a lifetime? That's over 2.5 billion beats. So we're not just looking at some organ here. This thing is a high-performance endurance machine that literally never takes a day off. And for all its amazing complexity, its whole reason for being, well, it all boils down to just one vital mission: to pump that oxygen and nutrient-rich blood to every single last cell in your body. That's it. So how in the world does it pull off this incredible mission every day? Well, to get that, we've got to look at its brilliant design. And here's the key. Don't think of it as just one pump. Think of it as two pumps, perfectly engineered to work side by side in absolute perfect sync. Yep, that's right. Inside this one organ, you've actually got four different chambers. You've got the two on top. Those are the atria, which are kind of like the receiving rooms for blood coming into the heart. And then you've got the two on the bottom, the ventricles, and these are the real powerhouses, the pumping rooms that send blood out. Put them together, and you've got our two-pump system. Okay, so here's the crucial part to remember. The right side of the heart, that's like the prep station. The left side, that's the main event. The right side's job is to take in all that deoxygenated, used blood from the body and shoot it right next door to the lungs to get a fresh tank of oxygen. Then, the left side takes that re-energized blood and powerfully pumps it out to the rest of the body. All right, let's actually follow that first leg of the journey. We're going to track what's often called the blue blood as it comes back to the heart, getting ready to refuel with that precious oxygen. So what's happening here? Well, first, all that used up blood from the body flows into the right atrium. Then, when that atrium gives a squeeze, it pushes the blood through this cool one-way door called the tricuspid valve, right into the right ventricle. Then it's the ventricle's turn. It's more muscular, so it gives a really good squeeze, pushing the blood through another one-way door, the pulmonary valve, and sending it off on its super short trip to the lungs. Okay, so after that quick pit stop in the lungs, the blood is now bright red and totally full of oxygen. So let's hop over to the left side of the heart and see how this re-energized blood gets sent out on its big mission to the rest of the body. And just to be super clear here, when we say oxygenated, what we really mean is that the blood has dropped off all its carbon dioxide waste and picked up a full tank of oxygen from the lungs. It's basically high-octane fuel, and it's ready for delivery. All right, here we go. That fresh oxygenated blood comes back from the lungs and enters the left atrium. From there, it passes through the mitral valve, you might also hear it called the bicuspid valve, and flows into the left ventricle. And this is where you really see the heart's power. The left ventricle is by far the strongest chamber. When it contracts, man, it ejects blood with incredible force through the aortic valve and into the aorta, which is basically the body's main superhighway. So, just to recap, on our little journey, we've passed through four really important one-way doors or valves. Their entire job is just to snap shut and make sure the blood keeps flowing in the right direction with absolutely no backflow. So, in the order we saw them, we had the tricuspid, the pulmonary, the mitral, which is also the bicuspid, and finally the aortic valve. Now, I know what you're thinking. Remembering that specific order can be kind of tricky, but lucky for us, there's a great little trick to help. Just remember this phrase: try pulling my aorta. The T is for tricuspid, P for pulmonary, M for mitral, and A for aortic. It's really as simple as that. And hey, I've got one more for you to help sort out which valve is where. Just think lab-rat. It's a handy way to remember that the left atrium has the bicuspid valve and the right atrium has the tricuspid valve. Lab-rat. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so we've seen how the heart is this incredible pump for the entire body. But what about the heart muscle itself? I mean, it's working way harder than any other muscle. It's got to need its own dedicated fuel supply, right? Of course it does. And that's where the coronary arteries come in. And get this, they're the very first branches that come off the aorta, which just tells you how high priority they are. They actually wrap around the outside of the heart, delivering a constant supply of fresh, oxygenated blood right to that hardworking heart muscle to keep it going strong. You can think of them as the heart's own private VIP fuel line. And, just like every other part of your body, the heart muscle creates its own used blood. This deoxygenated blood gets collected by a whole network of cardiac veins, and they all drain into one big vessel called the coronary sinus. And guess where that empties out? You got it, right back where we started our journey, the right atrium, ready to do the whole thing all over again. So, okay, we've got the plumbing, we've got the pumps, we even have the fuel line. But what's the spark? What's that invisible force that coordinates this whole incredible dance, conducting the perfect rhythm of squeezing and relaxing 100,000 times a day without you ever having to think about it? Well, that's a great question for our next explainer.